Okay, and
Got it.
participant,
Awesome.
Shentat, make host. Yes. Okay, so now you are the host.
Awesome. Awesome. Sounds great. And I think I can begin presenting.
Yes.
If I can remember where that control is. Somewhere in share screen right there. Yep. Awesome. And we'll produce a little Barber's effect. And then just share that. Awesome. And everyone know, please let me know when you can see my application screen.
Yeah.
I can see your screen.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Good, good. Okay. So, hi guys. I don't know if we have everyone here yet. It sounds like Alex mentioned that we have, I think, 5 total. Is that correct?
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, we have 5.
That we're that we're expecting. Awesome.
And then what was Tanya said that she's stuck at work, so she won't be able to make it.
Okay, so she will get the recording later.
Yes.
Awesome. And do we have anyone here other than Alex that was here for week 1?
I was here for most of week 1.
You were here for most of week 1.
Well, about
okay.
half of it. I can't say most, probably about half.
Gotcha. Did you review the video?
I did. I watched the whole video.
Awesome. Sounds perfect. For the other folks joining, this class is cumulative. And I'm going to go ahead and poll you guys now because you missed a lot. And particularly the methodology that we're going to be using. So how many people, and just call out if you have not watched the class 1.
Me.
Okay, so we have 1 person who missed class 1.
Yeah.
Okay, all of our other attendees have seen class 1. Perfect. Okay, someone said me, and it was a lovely singing voice. Who was that?
I think it was Cynthia.
It was
Cynthia.
me. To get my tomato to not burn.
Oh my.
It was stress, but thank you.
Okay, so it was someone named Cynthia. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. All right, Cynthia. So there's I'm gonna try and catch you up super quick.
Okay. I
Okay.
also haven't. I don't know if you heard me. I also didn't watch the first video.
I did not hear that. Okay, so
yeah,
we have.
I didn't hear it either.
All right. So I have to catch you guys up quick, but if you're going to audit any further classes, this class is cumulative, meaning that each class kind of builds on the next. So please, from this point, as they're posted, if you can't attend the class, please find a place in your week to be able to watch the video recording. Okay, so how we're going to be working this now, I'm gonna catch the frack up super quick. I'm not gonna pull for a lot of former experience because we have a lot of ground to cover today. So methodology is the most important here, and a proper attitude about how we're approaching a concept of sigilization. Now, there are many very highly defined methods that use very complicated means to get at a result. What I would like to do with this whole series is try and cut through that noise and give you guys, hand you a method that works always, works quickly, works easily, and to reduce the amount of complexity in the creation of a sigil. So our method is super quick, super easy. You have a piece of paper that you're going to use every week. And a pencil, I would highly encourage instead of a pen. Now, paper, you're going to divide into 3 segments on one side and leave open on the other. The open side, we're going to actually create our sigil on. The 3 side, the side that's divided into thirds, these are for 3 separate journal entries for each of the castings of the sigil. Okay. Now, so we'll create a sigil tonight based on concepts of and systems of tens. In other words, a means of organizing information and experience through a concept of the division of 10. Right? Meaning you're going to use 10 lines to create a sigil tonight. So most of our work is going to be tonight is going to be meditative and refining what intent we're working with our sigil. Now, so you'll create your sigil, then each time you cast it, and you'll cast it 3 times in 1 week. So the ideal here, and this is why there's 7 days between classes, is that you'll create the sigil, you'll wait a day, you'll cast it for the first time, you'll journal it, you'll wait a day, you'll cast it the second time and journal it, you'll wait a day, you'll cast it the 3rd time. At the very end of the class, anyone who participated, I would very much like to see also participate in what I call the best of Big Chief. The best of Big Chief is where you yourself will go back through each of your sigils and the journal entries. And you'll highlight, circle, underline words, phrases, meanings that jump out to you and grab you for the sigilization work that we did. And then you'll create an entry, whether that's a dialogue, whether that's a list of words, whether that's a free-form interpretive dance with music, right? Based on what you discovered and uncovered and realized or manifested that you've expressed through your journal entries, and you'll bring it to the entire group. So the last class is actually a student presentation of your best of Big Chief, right? The things that you have kind of pulled out and teased out from your work with sigils. So casting, I'm going to be really quick with this. Casting is super simple. There are 2 methodologies for casting. Okay, the first and preferred is we will create our sigil, right? And during you can, however you get there, right? Through a masturbatory session. Yes, you heard that correct. You'll masturbate using the sigil as whether it's a glowing orb, whether it's tattooed on the person or non-person or animal or Cthulhu that you're making love to in your fantasy, whatever it is, right? You will blazon that sigil for the entire course of your masturbatory session, leading up to the moment, the critical moment. We all know this moment. If you are pre-orgasmic, then use the second method. If you're not pre-orgasmic, then use this method. We all know that moment where you cannot stop this train. I'm going to orgasm. And at that moment, what you'll do is you'll actually throw the sigil into the orgasm. Physically, mentally, emotionally, in every way that you can, just hurl it directly into the orgasm. Okay. And then you let go of it and journal what you journal and walk away come back, recast it in 2 days. Okay. The second technique is what is called a box breath or a square breath. And that is, and really this is like, if you've done yoga, you're aware of this, right? Where you inhale for a count of 4, you hold it for a count of 4, you exhale for a count of 4, you hold it for a count of 4. And you keep doing this box breath to build enough energy while you hold in your mind and in your sight and vision your sigil. You and try and build as much energy as much, and on the release, which should be dramatic for you. It should involve clapping, or it should involve a hard exhale, or it should involve a vocalization of some kind, or pat or hit your body to really just trigger the release of all the energy that you collected with a box breath and hurl your sigil into that energetic void. Okay, so those are your 2 techniques. One is really easy and natural. The other one takes a great deal of focus and intention. Both of them are different both of them are really, can appeal to a different kind of personality. Any questions? Okay. All right, awesome. So class 1 covers not only methodology, but it also gives you kind of an overview of the arc of work. We are beginning with a linear sigil of 10. The next class will be 9. The next will be 8. The next will be 7. The next will be 6, all the way down to 0, meaning that we will begin with 10 lines tonight to compose our first sigil. The important work here is less about sigilization, and that's part of where the required reading and the suggested reading kind of gets us to. Was anyone able to look at or get eyes onto the required reading for week 1 and week 2?
Me?
Yay!
Did.
Me too.
Okay, so we have 2. Awesome. Is that it? Okay, sounds good. All right, then what we're gonna do is I'm gonna actually call for reading volunteers. Who is happy to read for us?
I mean, I'm happy to, but I want it to be someone other than me.
Yep.
I teach everything.
I can. Does it need to? Do I need to have it on hand right now? Because I don't. But
I can pull it up for you right now.
yeah, I don't have it, but I'd be happy to read.
So there's the first, and we're going to focus just on the first paragraph.
Okay. Talismanic images are used to help personify a force or concept represented by a name. This type of technique is usually used in the course of theurgy or high magic.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Are there any questions on what we just heard? There should be.
All of it, yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Okay. Do you remember last week I really said, you can focus on the gematria and the magic squares and creating these sigils using, these really highly complex ideas and tools? None of that is really required. What is required is representing your intent in some kind of visualized fashion. That's it. That's really the key. Now, the part that gets wonky is where he says, this type of technique is usually used in the course of theurgy or high magic. Theurgy comes from the Latin root theos, meaning God. And what he's referring to is the technique, we call it in witchcraft, we call it drawing down. where you actually bring into contiguous extension a divine current with your own physical form. You channel or trance or become possessed by. Whatever words you want to use to describe this event, it all is the same thing, and that's theurgy. We are essentially doing the same kind of work, only with our own intent for the work. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Awesome. We have a second piece of reading, and this one is a little more, this one's a little more and a little extra. So if I can, I will go ahead and call for another volunteer. Who's up?
I can do it
Awesome.
if I can see it because I am blind. Let me see. All right. The word sigil comes from the Latin sigillum, meaning a sign or signature. In magical terms, a sigil is a unitary glyph derived from a name, word, or magical formula by means of a direct analogical process, such as numerical conversion, tracing upon magic squares, which I couldn't do. Is that Camilla? I'm not sure how to say that
Yes,
one.
that's right. Mhm.
Okay. If the appropriate process key is reversed, then the name or word may be retrieved from the pattern of the sigil. However, if the sigil is condensed or compressed, or if it was generated using a system you are unfamiliar with, you may be unable to decipher it by reversing the coding process. This is particularly true of sigils or glyphs that were created or obtained through trance or other non-standardized methods. In these cases, it may be necessary to examine even through intuition, divination, or astral inspection in order to determine any word, name, or meaning connected with the sigil.
And we can stop right there.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being willing and open to read and share that with us. The key points here, and I love that this particular author, who is the author of the Magician's Companion, which is in your suggested reading list, the awesome part of this is that sigils may be obtained not only through these complicated methods, but also by direct connection, trance, by intuition, by seeing hallucinations, by looking for patterns in natural things like rocks, clouds, trees, etc. Does that make sense? Awesome. The real key here is having a clear intent and creating a unitary glyph. And what he means by that is the lines all connect to each other in some way. Okay, so that's really the point. So that when you really hold it in your focus and attention, you can trace the lines, you can see the pattern. And it should be compelling for you emotionally, and it should also be beautiful, right? It should be something that you enjoy looking at, or that terrifies you to look at, or that you have some kind of a response or an emotion around. Okay. And to that end, I wanted to throw out some brainstormers before we begin working on refining our own intents. And that is, you know, you don't need to memorize these. You don't need to know these. These are just for the sake of showing you different ways of creating ideas and glyphs using different kinds of lines, right? This is the alphabet of daggers, and it's absolutely lovely. And if you notice, each of these lines has a terminal cross on it. Each one ends in a point so that they look like or resemble daggers. They themselves, when arranged, look compelling and interesting. This one is the alphabet of Nugsoth, which is related to oops, I don't keep getting it smaller instead of getting it larger for you, which is related to people who kind of follow the Lovecraftian mythology. And, you know, you can see that there's an aesthetic involved in not only the alphabet of the daggers, but also this alphabet as well, right?
It reminds me of the unknown language in Pokemon.
Nice. Yes, that's right. And the unknowns, yes, which they just released 2 new unknowns. Ah. Anyways, so here's another awesome one, right? Where you can see these unitary glyphs, all the lines connect, terminate in circles or in swirls, right? And what I'm hoping with just kind of showing you some of these is that perhaps you'll get an idea of the kind of lines and linear figures that speak to your aesthetic, right? These are interesting. Of course, you know, I'm gonna skip to the end and show you my all-time absolute favorite forever and ever, because I am at heart a witch, and that is the Theban alphabet, the alphabet of witches, right? Which to me is one of the most compelling sets of shapes. And when I sigilize, I always try and create these looping and swooping and interconnecting lines because they personally speak to me. However, everyone has their own sort of approach. So you can, on your own, go through the brainstormers. They're available to you with the rest of the week 1 and week 2 materials. And now, really, it's time for us to get down to some brass tacks, right? And that is really working out our intent. Now, the work for the week itself, right, is standing inside the complexity of our own lives, trying to, you know, Oscar Wilde, awesome playwright, which if you don't know him, please look him up. He's pretty amazing. Totally queer, totally fabulous and brilliant, ahead of his time, and very saucy. Said, how can you know what you think until you see what you say? Words of wisdom for a lifetime, right? And part of the work of this that we're doing this week for Systems of 10 is standing inside the complexity of our own lives, fully self-realized. So bring that to your own sort of thinking, and let's write that down in the top of our first section, right? Standing in the complexity of your life, fully self-realized.
Standing in the complexity of your life, fully self-realized?
Yes.
Okay.
Awesome. Now, there's some what systems of 10 can anyone just throw out off the top of their heads?
Like just numerical wise, or things that are found in tens?
Yep, all of the above.
Just a numerical scale of 10, 20, 30.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, you were right there. That's absolutely fantastic. Now, you know, one of the things that I always say as a teacher is the power of the thing is in its nature. The nature of what you just described is more like a ladder, right? Where you're approaching experience with, you know, a single unit and then a multiple of 10 unit and then a multiple of 10 unit. It's almost like exponentially increasing itself, right? I think it's really interesting that you went straight to multiples of 10. One, of course, we could always just go straight 0 to 9, right? We can also go 1 to 10. So in 1 to 10, in 0 to 9, we have an absolute progression from nothing into something through to a divisive or two-sided, to a tripod, which has stability. And suddenly there's a unit here that can actually create a constellation like mom, dad, baby, sun, moon, earth, right? And then increase that to 4. And suddenly we have like the firmness and strength of a tower, right? That's why the number 4 card is works, right? In the Crowley deck, because suddenly you're looking at a fortress, right? To 5, where complexity becomes complicated and always there's pushback in 5. To 6, where suddenly you have more than just yourself, you have an entire community, and the beginning of cooperative consciousness begins to emerge. To 7, which is like the holy number, right? Suddenly you have 4 plus 3, you have this dynamic, tight atomic unit, which is being encased in that strong housing fortress unit, right? It's said that 7 is the meeting of 3 and 4, the celestial and terrestrial numbers combined. Suddenly you have the idea as above, so below with 7. And then 8, where great works become a true issue and you begin to see concepts of economy emerging. And then 9, the infinitely reproducible number of the goddess. You can go from 1 to 10, right? Where you're going through a full progression until you return on yourself with 10 on a new scale, which is a lot like the kinds of quantum leaps that wisdom imparts on people who keep a practice over time, where you return to the same issues, but with a brand new perspective, right? So, okay, so we've seen 3 concepts of 10, 3 ideas of 10 already playing out. The most famous magical concept of 10, of course, is the 10 Sephiro of Kabbalah. And beginning with Malkut, or manifestation, and moving all the way through attenuated spheres to Keter, or the Godhead, or ultimate consciousness, or absolute beingness. I really don't want to dive too deeply into Kabbalah because you can get so lost in the forest, and I don't want you lost, right? I want you here, right? So for the sake of this, I really want to focus on concepts of your body. And so with your 10 lines standing in the complexity of self-realized, right? What I would like you to do is just make a dot in the center of your page and then arrange 10 lines, and I want you to name them, right? So those 10 lines should connect to each other. I hope you have an eraser, because this may take several iterations, right? You may choose to make a star. You may choose to make a tree. You may choose to make a house. You may choose to make whatever it is. The point in the center is something for you to focus on during your casting. The lines should array around this as the complexity that you stand in self-realized. So right off the bat, you know, what comes to my mind is I want to work with iron and pearl. So I want to work with my own sex, pride, self-power, and passion, right? And I want to feel them on their higher octaves, right? And this is all solely within my own worldview. This is not anything I'm asking you to do. One line might be your family. One line might be your job. One line might be your child care responsibilities. One line might be shopping at Dillard's. You know, whatever is, like, of course Alex laughs at me, right? But try and get as large of scope of your life as possible while still really being authentic with yourself about a magical focus, goal, and intent. Okay. Okay, so I have what I want to work with. Let's see if I can show it to you in a way that you can see it. So what I've taken is I've taken 5 lines and I've created like a star around my central point, and then 5 more lines intersecting that star, radiating from the center. I'm going to actually like really work on coloring in these lines.
So if we created a sigil, because I already created my 10-line one, but now
Yes.
I'm not sure, because I've done a lot of sigil work before, but I'm not sure if I did it in the way that we're working it in this class.
I'm
Sure.
at the exact same point. I did one too, but yeah, I'm thinking that too. I don't know if I did it right.
There is
Can
no
I
right.
show you the one that I already made?
Yes, please
knew that.
do. Let's do show and tell. I want to see.
Okay. So
Okay.
I put it, I put it in chat so everybody can see.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing and I want to look at the chat and I want to see, yes, there it is. And look at that. You are so awesome. You already have a link to it. This is fantastic. Yeah. Oh, yes, you did this. So the sigil is the star, correct? That he's looking at?
Yes, and then the representation, because I connect a lot with the Fool, and so I drew my own interpretation of the Fool. And
Gorgeous.
I
Gorgeous,
was trying
gorgeous.
to have the Fool connect to the star that is the intention that I am creating. And then I was trying to bring the 4 in as well, because I'm really trying to bring the
with the 4 green lines
into my life, exactly with the 4 lines.
Okay, so Alex, here's the part where I really want to kind of push the envelope, and that is in the specificity of your intention.
Okay.
So one of the things that we do in my tradition is what we call Polynesian visualization. And Polynesian visualization, it has nothing to do with Polynesia, by the way. It's really a misnomer, and thanks a bunch, all of the students of Victor Anderson who want to carry on this myth that Victor was somehow a Polynesian shaman, but whatever, right? I know no other words, so I'm going to use these words, Polynesian visualization. And essentially what it means is that you bring your focus to the point in your own imaginative space, which of course here and in this work, I want to challenge and invite you to begin interlocking that also with an erotic space for yourself to give it zing and power and punch. Anyways, that you can see it, taste it, smell it, hear it, feel it, as if already manifest in, through, and out of you. Okay. I love that you went to the place of, I'm going to incorporate my sigil into this larger idea and drawing and give it a context that your imaginative mind can wrap around in a sensual way. The beautiful plume, the gorgeous flower, climbing on the hill, the vista and view. There's wind involved because he's on a precipice. The dog, so you can hear the space, you can see the space, you can feel the space vibrating around it. I would encourage you as you do this, as you continue to kind of hone and refine, don't stop with your sigil, right? Find that thing that speaks to you. So let's say somebody else is like, you know, I'm an anime freak and I love anime. Awesome. Make a character, right? Put your sigil on the character during your work of box breath or masturbatory casting. Use that character, right? Attach deeply to and invest this design, in this case, this gorgeous star with these darts coming off of it and the 4 greens, almost like an OM letter, right?
Yes.
OM is in one of, that's actually in the brainstormers. This OM is in there as well. So awesome. If you can also, Alex, bring into this some of the ideas from what is the complexity of your life, right? You have a job that makes you money, and you have divination that you're running, and you have your own student studies as well as teaching that you're doing for people. Is there a way that you can bring into this additional elements through collage, through drawing, through letters? Like, okay, a letter for family. Awesome. And that goes here. And let's alter that line a little bit and make it look like a flourish or another flower, right? Or even go over the drawing you already have and say, okay, I'm gonna take these 10 elements of my life and pull them into this gorgeous Fool card. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
You betcha. Who's next? Is it who else has a sigil to begin working with? You do. Can you show us?
I can. Let me see if I can switch my camera around.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you see that?
I can.
So this is not it. Okay. I tried to do the box that you were talking
Right.
about. I struggled so hard, and Alex, man, you helped me so much. But my intention is to find, what did I put here? Find our forever house. And then I remembered that you were like, wait a minute, let's more specific and full sentence. So that's when I put, I want to find our forever house.
Yes.
I got the numbers. I don't know how to put them in this box. I couldn't figure, I don't know, Sudoku, I don't know how to do it. So just wait. I got on there and I texted Alex and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing with this box. So she just magnificently told me, you know what, just, get outside the box.
Yes.
And just write what you want.
Yes.
So this is my sigil.
10 lines. Look at that.
10 lines. It's a house.
Yes.
I don't know if that's exactly what you were talking about.
Yes. Yes. This is exactly precisely what we're trying to do.
Okay.
Yes.
I just, because you were saying the sentence, so I didn't know if the standing in the complexity, I didn't know if I had done all that.
That's right. So,
but I wanted a house.
so Kim, where you can go with this to begin really filling it in with some of the elements of pollination visualization, right? Is okay. there's your sigil. You're done with the sigil part.
Okay.
Awesome. Now bring in numbers, bring in letters, bring in ideas and concepts, right? What do you want to be in the house? Well, I want adult furniture. I want people I love. I want stable income. I may want a garden that I can work in. I may want flowers that I can tend. I may want pets. I may want books. I may want whatever it is that I want in my forever house, right?
Okay.
So this
Yeah.
is Kim's forever house. Honey, honey, what does it need to look like? What does it need to smell like? What does it need to taste like? What can you bring into this? You know, who do you want to play house with in your forever house, right? And
Yes.
bring all that in. And you can bring it in with letters, with numbers, with collaging, with, as long as you can hold the focus for that 10-line frame
Okay.
and bring as much emotion and desire and tension, bring that tension into this image to the point where it becomes luminous.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean by that?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Loud. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank
So yeah, you already have a frame. So Alex has a frame, you have a frame, I have a frame. Awesome. Is anyone else up or anyone else stuck?
I'm stuck.
You're stuck. Okay.
Yes. So I've never actually made a sigil, and so I'm. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but I feel like, does it need to be for a goal, or can it just be like I have energy or something like that? You know,
Sure.
can it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We through the course, through all of these classes, we'll cover an intention that's specifically about internally focused self-discovery. We'll have one about connecting with the divine force. We'll have another class about manifesting a goal, like a forever house. We're going to have various classes that deal very specifically with ways to use a sigil. Today, what we're doing is 10 lines, and we're trying to get a very broad focus about, right. So for right now, it's about standing in the complexity of our lives. In other words, honoring the truth about where you are right now in your life, Evelyn. Right? If you can't honestly and earnestly appraise where you're standing, you cannot take a step forward.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So that's kind of where we're trying to do is foundationalize ourselves, ground ourselves, what I call orienteering. Right. And we're just doing that with 10 lines. So really, and this is the important part, have your piece of paper. It should have 3 sections, right? And begin thinking about how you want to arrange 10 lines on that page around a central dot. So when you're ready to put pencil to paper, that's what you're going to do. Put a dot in the center. That is the I of identity. Now, arrange 10 lines around it. That's it.
Okay.
And then when you're ready, you'll do the box breath and release to cast it, or the masturbatory technique to cast it. Okay. Now, and afterwards, you'll do it 3 times in 7 days, and you'll journal your like, how did it go? What did you experience? What happened? Oh my God. Did it trigger a manifestation? Was the manifestation the next day? Leave yourself open for surprises too. You know, Alex has things in her picture, which I have a feeling, young lady, You will find manifestations in coincidentia with that imagery if you do a strong casting, right? This is going to be true about you too, Kim, with your house and the things that you bring in. Be conscious and be deliberate about what you place into your sigil, right? Because the casting is a powerful tool, and guaranteed there are always surprises in magic. When we do magic effectively, what we wind up doing is we tear down routinized mental structures, things that we have convinced ourselves are true about ourselves and the world. And the first step really in seeing the truth is untelling ourselves a lie. That's part of what we do in magic.
So for like mine, if you click on the picture and you see the star that I made, the reason that it has 4 points and then 4 more points coming out is because the really big thing, well, number one, there's 2 reasons. Number one, I really want to bring the 4. My intention is 4. And that was the big thing that I was thinking about because I connect a lot with numerology. I am not stable. I am not organized. I am not consistent. I am not any of those things. And so I really wanted to bring consistency, stability, and organization, and all of the beautiful things that are the building blocks of the number 4. And that is why there's so many pieces of 4 that are inside the picture.
Yes.
And then number 2, it's also the scientific picture for a particle. And it's on the opposite side of the sun. And light is actually really interesting. And light, depending on if you're observing it or not, depending on if you're observing it or not, it acts differently. So if
yes,
you're
that's right.
observing it, in quantum physics. So if you're observing it, light will react as if it is a wave. And if you are not observing it, it'll act as if it's a particle. And to me, sometimes since I focus so much on hard science in my major, I forget how much magic there truly is in the world. Yes. And so bringing quantum physics in really reminds me that because light acts differently, depending on if you're observing it or not, it reminds me how much we don't know and how much true magic there really is in the world. And so I was bringing that number 4 in, as well as bringing my opinion of how I remember all the beautiful magic that exists within my life and how I kind of quantify magic in a sense and in a way. And yeah, so I don't know if that helps, but that was where I was going with my sigil creation.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing.
Of course.
Yeah, I know it helps me. You know, this is true about all things magic. The more elements you can layer and layer and layer and layer that are personally and individually significant to you, the more powerful the casting will be. So if you relate, Evelyn, to your cat, bring your cat in. And I am not being shitty or shady. I am being 100% for real. If this, you know, I have a great friend who really, her rats are her muse. She has 4 rats, and she always has 4. And when one dies, she replaces it. She always has 4. And they always have similar names. They start with the same letter. Each of the 4 always starts with the same letter. And she brings their fur or lost teeth, or sometimes they lose a tail part. She brings in like all of these elements into, and it's creepy as fuck. Don't get me wrong. It is super creepy to see some of the like spells that she puts together on her altar. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm looking at. It looks so biological. It's just horrifying. And yet she manifests hard with the work that she does, because these things are fully like so enmeshed in her life and so meaningful for her that when she hands God that memo memograph and says, 1,000 copies, please. Guess what she does? She makes 1,000 damn copies and hands him back. So awesome. Who is anyone else ready with like actual lines? Because I'm starting to like embellish. I'm starting to like, I like horns. See, it's actually already taking kind of a focus and it's starting to look really cool and spacey. And I like the little
That's
horns that I'm
awesome.
adding.
It
Yeah,
is
exactly.
awesome.
Yeah,
I love
totally.
that.
And so is anyone else ready with like their lines and where they're going with it? Nope. All right. Well, this is the work tonight. Go through the brainstormers for those of you who don't have lines, right? And I'm not gonna say, okay, get your paper, start drawing. I'm not gonna do that, right? This is your work and you'll show up for your magic. So when you're ready to show up for your magic, whatever time that is, whatever place that is, you know, whether it's lighting a candle or whether it's putting the kid to bed, you know, whatever your moment is, grab your piece of paper, blank on one side, 3 spaces on the other. Okay, I'm going to type the sentence that I want you to put as a starter for the first journal entry, and that is standing in the complexity of my own life, fully self-realized. Okay, and look at the brainstormers. I gave you guys in the material, if you follow the links from the classroom, to the Google Docs and to the shared Google Drive, you'll find a bunch of images and a whole folder called brainstormers that can kind of help you like begin grappling with these ideas of a unitary line drawing that holds an intent. Okay.
Can I real fast ask you something?
You can.
I just want to make sure I have this correct. As far as the standing in the complexity of your life, is that like an easy way to say that is just where do I really think I'm at in life? Honestly?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
With all of its true complexities. You know, here's the T2. If you want to do real magic, you can't lie to yourself about anything.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got to be like dangerously earnest with yourself about the truth of your experience. Because if you want to stick your finger into that cauldron and stir it up and pull something out, you should know who you are, right? And that doesn't need to really mean that you are an enlightened individual and a Buddha. Nobody is, right? Even Buddha isn't. Buddha had to get there. And Buddha had to stay there, for fuck's sake, right? With the rest of the world changing, which means that's a moving target. The truth of it all is, can you stand with, you know, I'm feeling 1,000 emotions because these things are going on in my life. And yet I'm trying to reach these goals. And yet I'm holding down a job. And yet I'm caring for my auntie because she had a stroke. And yet I'm doing this. And yet I'm doing that. And I'm contributing to my Patreon like I should. And I'm taking out my damn trash and recycling. Right? Because we all are.
Yeah.
And I want to manifest this. There's deep realization and change that has to happen for me to feel like a more realized, magical being in my own life. And this is a beginning of a step. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Awesome. Questions? Look at that. We are so on time. We're ahead of time. And this is going to be kind of the work through it all. We're gonna have a little bit of reading. We're gonna have focusing on our intent. We're gonna have sharing the sigils we're working on, and then you guys will go away and do the work. We're not doing the work in the class, right? You have your own magic and your own work to do, and really, the nature of this work is very private. And the technique I gave you is deliberately very private, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, right. He laughs. And, you know, I would also love to hear what the challenges are. Now, I'll let you know this. This was the preferred technique of manifestation by Aleister Crowley. Through like 2 or 3 of his more notable workings that kind of really led to his own understanding of this process of what's called knowledge and conversation with one's own holy guardian angel, or what we simply call being fully self-possessed by one's own God soul. So my tradition, we say you are possessed by your God soul. In other words, your own interface with the divine you have access to. Okay, I'm going to say that again. Your own interface with your divine you have access to. Those, and he used this technique to do it. The hardest part is the concentration during arousal in an erotic space. However, the feedback that the universe gives because of the tension you've put into it is huge and will, for real, rewire you, which is the coolest part. And that's why chaos magicians love this tech. And that's exactly what they do, is sex magic, specifically with sigilization, because it rewires your brain and you're the one in control of rewiring it, not someone else. It's not someone else's ideas or values. They are yours. Even just a thought like gives me chills and kind of blows me away a little bit, right? That I get to remake myself into the image of the person I can only imagine that I want to believe I can become. So
that is so cool too, because well, my major is clinical neuroscience. I don't know if I mentioned that to you, but in releasing oxytocin, which is one of the neurotransmitters that you release when you're masturbating or having sex or something like that, and your brain really remembers all the things you're thinking about when you release oxytocin, and it creates neurohighways. So you really do. You really and truly actually are rewiring your brain to release oxytocin during these moments of intention. And that is going to create a neural highway, which is going to change and rewire the way that you think and the way that you react to life, which is so cool.
yes.
Hashtag post-nut clarity.
Yes,
awesome.
and look at what you're putting into that, because really what you're doing is you're expanding that container, right? I always think of self as a container, both little s self and capital S self. I think of as a container into which I pour things. And the shape of the container actually shapes what's poured through it. And that's what we're doing here. We're actually making a preset shape to pour through self to manifest into the universe. And one of the things that I've told Alex, and I tell every student, as a matter of fact, one of my students recently gave me a diary with it printed on it, which is just was very touching, is the universe has no choice but to prove to you anything that you believe very strongly about it, period. It's a feedback loop system. And you are constantly participating in that, just like Alex talked about with light and light's awareness of its own being observed.
Which is so cool.
Yeah. in every way. The
No, stop it.
weird physical, bioelectrical, astral, subtle beings that we are forever like surfing these waves of attention and consciousness, as well
No.
as physicality.
That is my food. No, that is my. Stop it.
I hear a mom. Oh my gosh.
Sorry, my mother-in-law's cat was trying to get at my food, but I didn't because I finished my sigil.
Oh,
Oh,
yay!
good. Do you want to share?
Sure. I don't know if I did it right,
Well, let's see.
but I did a heckin' something.
All right.
Upstairs. Okay. Sorry, I had to go outside. Okay. Hi.
Oh, there you are. Hi.
I did this one.
Oh no, it's gorgeous.
Oh, that's
Can-
beautiful.
No, it's
Yeah.
gorgeous.
I have been working on meditations recently, especially using the elements and everything. So I don't know if you can see it this way, but I tried to put the elemental like alchemical
Yes, I can see them.
triangle
Mhm.
symbols in there.
Earth, air, fire, and
And
water. Yes.
Yep.
And I've been working on letting go of people who I love but are super toxic and abusive.
Yes.
And through that trauma recently. So that's why it's pointed down and doesn't
Yes.
have like any way to go back up.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. That's fantastic. I didn't see your name while you were popped up on the screen. Who was that?
Cynthia.
Cynthia.
That was Cynthia. Cynthia, honey, it's a hi, honey. That's an absolutely gorgeous sigil. Yes, it's perfect. And you know, I can't wait to hear about your best of Big Chief. I'm for real. And I love that you really took that serious of standing in the complexity, the truth of the complexity of your own life and being self-realized, right? You just like take the bull by the horns there, girl. That's awesome. Beautiful work.
Okay, I gotta
I
go
can't
make
wait.
sure my cat doesn't eat my food.
Good job, Cynthia. That's awesome. And I'm so
So-
happy that you connected it with the work that we're doing with meditation. That's beautiful.
Okay. Do we have anyone else who's ready to share?
I am. Hold on a second. Get in bed. Go. 1 second. Gotta get my dog in bed.
Yeah.
Dog. Okay, get in bed. Come on. Oh, okay.
Oh, what a good mommy. She creates her pup. Oh.
6 pets and 2 children in the house.
That's a whole lot of poop. Let me tell you.
Oh my gosh, yes. Oh my gosh. Because he's a puppy, and so we're still potty training him.
All the poop.
Okay. So I'm not sure if I did it right either, but
Okay.
I've been struggling with grief a lot this week. And so mine is fairly simple. I don't know if you can see it. Okay, yeah.
Yes, I can.
So it's just
Oh,
the
I
heart.
see. Yes. So you did the heart and then there are lines radiating from it
Yes, to
to
help.
give you your 10 lines. Yes.
And then there's
Oh, I
the
see
heart
that.
inside, which
Yep.
symbolizes my baby's heart, always with me, and the 3 lines on the outside are to symbolize just the radiating of healing, I guess.
Good. Good.
So
Yes. That's awesome.
not sure if I did it right, but
You did. No, you
Okay.
did. The assignment is 10 lines. That's it. And the intent is to stand in the complexity of your life fully self-realized. And the fact that you even just said, I'm dealing with a lot of grief. And so what did you do? You took something that was so meaningful to deal with grief, heart. And what gives you hope your baby's heart, and bringing that into self. I can't wait to hear about your best of Big Chief.
Thank you. Me too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I will not be surprised if you cast this 3 times, as is your assignment, that you won't also be surprised and shocked likely by the directions that compassion and succor will come back to you. Right.
Yeah.
Which is part of that visualization and part of the work that I would love to you also to bring into this sigil. Like, you know, what else needs to surround this heart for it really to look like healing for you?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And what does that mean as far as how you feel in your own life and your own sense of security or power and vulnerability? Where, you know, where is that line for you? And can you bring all of that into the casting?
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, Evelyn.
Problem.
Yeah. Anyone else? If not, I have to pee so bad. Because I am up on my water and being a good boy. Ugh. And drinking my 96 ounces. Ugh. It's a chore.
Good job. That is a chore.
It is totally a chore. Yeah, to really get your, but you know, this happened during COVID. And
I feel that. I feel that so hard.
yeah, I was down to 165 and I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? But you know, we all self-soothe the way we do, and I self-soothe through food, and I knew that going into the lockdown, and it was really just a matter of, you know, how much can I tolerate before I'm not feeling like myself anymore? And it's time to get back on running and get my diet under control again and feel cute in my clothes.
Yeah.
Right? That's very important.
Yeah, I am a vain bitch. I'm like, I have to look cute for fuck's sake.
Like, I want to look cute, but I also am fighting with the idea of, well, why can't I look cute now? I can just
Honey, I bet you
right.
look cute
now
all the
and
dang
lose that weight,
time.
like, coincidentally. But then, you know, but I want to be skinny, and the whole battle. It's the whole battle.
It is the whole battle.
It is the whole battle. That's right. And, you know, feeling beautiful right now, girl, you know, you are. And so are we, right? Especially, and look at that cutie baby doll right there. Just like, what about me? What about my donut? My donut is cute. Yes, honey, it sure is. I'm gonna eat that damn donut. You don't watch out. That's how I got this.
Right?
All right, guys. So we have either a finished sigil, or we are well on our way,
Yep.
or we understand what we're doing. Is that correct about everyone here?
Yes.
Awesome. Then I'm going to let you guys go and get a little bit of time back from your night. And so we're going to cast this 3 times this week and then journal our results in our 3 sections. Okay? All right.
Awesome.
Sounds
Thank you
great,
so
guys.
much.
Thank you so much. This was
Thank
awesome.
you. Yeah, you betcha.
Thank
And we'll see
you.
you next time.
Yes.
See you next week.
Yep.
Thank you.
So
You
glad I
betcha.
came.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.